Okay, one take, let's go live. Oops. I started from the very end, and I'm not meant to do that. Anyway, so Daisy Death, Flower of Life, Part 2. So the Flower of Life and the Daisy of Death, by the way, if we forget, is listed here. So the previous video that I did was talking about the unified eternal consciousness flower of life versus the fragmented finite consciousness, which we identified as the flower of life and then the seed of life that is then doubled and overlaid upon itself at the counter-rotating angle. So this is actually 6 circles and then 12 circles overlaid with one another, as we can see up here. So this one here is 2 of these guys, right? Ta-da! Oh my god! Which is just 2 of them. And then this one over here is what the original video is kind of commenting about and implying. And I'll show you in a second. But goes on to say that this is the flower of life, not this one, or the seed of life, actually, at this point. Because the flower of life is then doubled that around again for a second layer. So this one would be all the way around the outside of that again, and we'll get to that in a minute as well. So these are the seeds. Okay, so this would be the seed of life, and this would be the seed of death. As everything is life and death also at the same time. Anyway, the other part of the video I wanted to comment about was this amazing epic scientific mathematical spiral chart overlaid upon the it's actually a condensed version of the what's it called, Kabbalah. So if we go by here, okay, it's not the Kabbalah, what's it called? Can't remember. Tree of Life. Yes, this one. Okay. So it's actually, oops. It's actually this one, which is kind of enlarged to be ginormous like this. Oops. But anyway, this is the side columns here. Are equal with this kind of thing, right? So that's the idea there. So it spirals out of the tree of life, and they're going on to say that the red one is the bad one because it doesn't reach the heights that it needs to. Okay, so the blue one is the flower of life, and the red one is, or the seed of life, and the red one is the seed of death. Okay, so the red is based on the 3 or the 6, as we know, it's the 6 circles. And the blue one is a 4, and it's based on a 4. Okay? Oops. That one there. Okay? 4, 6. But the 6 isn't 6. The 6 is just 2 triangles. Okay? So it is 3 in polarity balanced upon itself. Alright? Going back up again. Yeah, it's not really well ordered. But anyway. They bring out this amazing chart to confuse and to confound, as a lot of people do on these types of things, and a lot of science does in our modern world, because this one goes to show, oh look, there's spirals and there's information happening, and let's not talk about it all because all these axes are actually irrelevant compared to what she's talking about. What she's implying is that because of the spiral growth pattern, one of them is correct and one of them is incorrect, whereas if we just take away our perceptual judgments of it and we look at the circumstance as it is, one of them is based on, at this point here, we'll make it 1.2. Okay, so if you don't know maths and if you don't know how to draw spirals and do stuff like that, then this is going to get a little bit confusing, but I have to spell this out for you as best I can, so that way it's absolutely transparent. This point here is 1.2. This point here is about, well, on the blue, on the red, it would be 0.9. this bit here would be 0.6, this bit here would be 0.3, this bit here would be, and well, it doesn't math out like that because this is a different spiral. I could fraction these less to create more points. So this one starts at 0 and then crosses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points before it reaches 1.2. Okay, the blue starts at 0 and goes across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or even 5, because it looks like it really starts here, and then this is the first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one is 7 points to get to 1.2, and this one is 5 points to get to 1.2. So this one is more comprehensive on smaller scales, and this one is missing information on smaller scales. So it's just cutting corners and getting straight to the point of conjecture, okay? But if we keep following them out, and we don't in the video, they both reach conjecture points further as well. But they won't cross-relate each other like this, because this is an artificial representation of the information in order to distort knowledge or perception to make it look like something is happening. But if we took these two spirals and we arced them against each other even more and spiraled them off to the center point, then further out, somewhere out here, we'll say, so if the spiral went all the way around and then came back all the way out to here again, then this might be the 2.4 point. So the green points here where they both match up again, if you rotate the actual offset of the spiral, you can match them up at 2.4, you can match them up again and again, and these are just multiplications. So 3 times whatever equals whatever, 4 times whatever equals whatever, and then you look for the correlation points that match out. Okay, so 3 times 4 equals 12. That's obviously a correlation point. Both 3 and 4 then get to 24, and so that's a correlation point. I just added the points there to make it, because I was trying to do it on a piece of paper, but I couldn't find my compass, so ignore the points if you want. Point being, this is easily explained using mathematics that can be overlaid upon each other at cross-relating arcs, and the purpose of which is to create perceptual changes in information. So, this is the original. This is the one where they go on to talk about how the Christ code, or the Rish, God's seed, is not the same as this one, because this one is based on death, and it's based on death because none of the points correlate back to the middle. But as we can see, they kind of all do, because the reason why the lines are there is because they're already drawing lines between all these, right? But again, this is where information gets misrepresented. All of the lines in this one are there because they're joining all the middles of the circles to each other on the same level and below. No, and also on the ones outside. Yeah, so much there. So all of the circles, the center of the circles here are drawn with a line to each other. So from here to here, obviously, here to here, obviously, here, all the way down to here, here across to here, from this middle one out here, which crosses through the middle, from this one all the way down here to the bottom, from this one all the way across here to this one. And they don't do this on this one. They just create little chevrons to make it look like everything is pointing towards the middle, and then they say that the reason why this one is death is because it doesn't circulate back towards the middle, but it does. Okay, here's a chevron, here's a chevron, here's a chevron, here's another chevron, here's another chevron, okay, here's another chevron, except they're all potential arcs are drawn between the circles here. Here you've only got selective arcs to make it look like, oh, these 3 circles point towards the middle, These three circles point towards me, and these three point to. So this one is like, oh my God. But if we have a look here and we go, okay, what about this circle to this circle? Let's draw a line there. What about this circle to this circle to this circle, this circle to this circle, this circle to this circle? If you drew lines between all of these, you would have a completely different image. Okay, so this is just selective misrepresentation of information in order to distort perception. I'm not saying that the person who made the original video knows what's going on here or that she's trying to distort perception, but all I'm saying is that that's basically what's happening. Here we have the seed of life. Ba, 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 played out into the fashion or the same size as this one. So this here, when added all the way around it, okay, so when we go boop, 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 there like that, and then we go boop, 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 there like that, and we start creating a pattern all the way around it, okay, of itself, replicating itself all the way around it, then we start to get into what this is, okay? So what if we do the same with this one? What if we start to overlap it all the way around? Well, that's what this one is here, okay? So this is kind of, again, what this one is pointing at, okay? Except I've added the extra ones. This one cuts off at 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? I've just added another one here and another one there, okay? So if we can see the 2 there and they point towards the middle. Oh wait, no, I'd have to do another one all the way out through there. Okay. That's going to be because of the speed of the video. And I love doing lives because of the imperfection of them, so bite me if you don't like it. Alright. Like this, and we just keep correlating it out like that. Then we'll see towards the middle point. I've lost the middle point. There. Oh, that's a wonderful picture. Dahlia's drawing next to me as well. We're both doing numbers and math today. Yay, good daddy. So there's a middle point there, right? So if we take, where is it? From middle point, 1 circle up and 2 to the side. Oh, all of these are offset. So we'd have to literally rotate the whole thing by 45 degrees. But the chevrons in the other image are from there to there. And then it is going from here and then here. No, gotta be going from the other one there. Let's just have a look and play a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. You having fun there, baby? Can you say dad? Daddy, daddy, daddy. Daddy, daddy, daddy. Probably an easier way to do all this graphic sort of stuff, but you know, I'm clearly a superb artist. Right? Daddy, daddy, daddy. Super awesome, super art. Arty, super art. Art of the art. And then what if I just go like this? Hey, Colin. Triangle. Then we go and rotate it like this. And the center one is going to be there. So this one then would have to be, maybe it'd be better to get a hollow one. Change the color so we can see. Yeah. Yeah. Oop. I thought I had this one worked out, but clearly not as well as I thought I did. Hence the joy of creating live videos. Oh, you're copying me. She's putting crayons in her mouth because I'm putting my pencil in my mouth. But you get the point, okay? So we can quite easily distort and point information here. But again, what the Metatron's cube is doing is it's not drawing little chevrons to mark out 1 or 2 bits of information. The Metatron's cube is literally joining the connection points between all of these circles. That's it. And that's why it comes out looking like it does. Because if we did that with this type of grid, this would just come out looking like... graphics. This would come out looking like this. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just information being relayed in different forms and shapes, okay? So each point of the grid would match up with the middle of the circle if we inflated it large enough, you know, to like this type of thing, okay? So this is where the 4s and the 6s start to really come out, okay? So the 4s are shaping based on a cube and a 6 is basing off of a hexagon. And the hexagon itself, as we can see here, has a cube in it as well. I mean, if we rotate a cube, then we have a hexagon, don't we? Oh, so the 4 is the 6. Oh, but what's the 6? The 6 is the Star of David. Oh, so we're starting to make a bit more of a connection between how all these things are interrelated now, you see? The Seed of Life and the crazy Metatron. So well, this one has the lines at the front. But if we bump that to the back, we bring the circles back out to the front, then it looks like this one here. And we can clearly see that the circles... Oh, she's pointing the pencil at the screen and copying me. How cute is that? Yeah, thanks, baby. But this is the circles without the lines, okay, in Metatron's cube there, all right? So if you draw a line between all these circles here, you get Metatron's cube. That's it. Let's not even get into this little guy over here, which is the Sriyacha, and that's beautiful. So the Star of David, or 2 triangles intersecting with one another. Do you see what we're getting to here? We've got 2 symbols being represented. One of them is a cube, and one of them is a star. Okay. So the star, again, is just a star because it's 2 triangles. So it's actually 3 multiplied by 2. And this is where you get into the alchemical masculine and feminine forms. Okay, so you've got one, that'll be the feminine because it's a cup, and this one is the masculine because it represents a penis. And we all love penises. The whole world is built on penises, and we shoot penises up into the sky, and penis, and all of that fun stuff. So for biological purposes, I'm saying these words. Oh, that's my symbol. For biological purposes, I'm saying these words, not for sexual or pornographic material. Educational purposes only. Thank you, adults. Okay. But if we take any of these, the triangle, Star of David, the cube, we take any of these, the circle, any of them, and we take them by their self and we turn them into a religion, then we're distorting information and we're also misrepresenting information. And then the religious aspect of it denies anything else and labels it as death, like the Daisy of Death does, okay? But the Daisy of Death is merely a representation of circles overlaid in a format that is exactly the same as what we would call the cube. Okay, let's go back up here. There's a cube here. You see the cube? But don't actually touch it because it's a touch screen. Okay. And we just look at this and go, where was it there? So with the cube. No, don't edit the image, just change the color. And then, wait, that's not a cube, it's just squares. Cube. Silly daddy, hey? And that's the wrong cube, okay? It's just different rotation of the cube, right? You see there? Where if we draw lines around the outside of the shape of it, then the core of the cube, the center of the cube matches up in the middle. Okay, so the 4 circles themselves represent a cube, as well as the fact that they don't, because they're 4 circles. So all of this is pointing towards the fact that something represents something and something doesn't represent something, okay? I could have just done that here, like this, okay? So you can clearly see how things are beginning to line up in a beautiful fashion once we get the alignments right. And then these cubes, I've been trying to find an appropriate one. You see how this center of the cube here is offset and it's not actually in the middle of the diagram here? That's because the cube is actually not looking at it directly at a conjuncture point of equality between all 3 faces. It's looking at the cube and then slightly angling it for the image perception of the for the perception of the image. But if we take any of this and we start to make it into real life sort of circumstances, then we've got, the cube, we've got the hexagon, but the hexagon comes together to create what is referred to as buckyball, or more commonly, football, soccer ball, depending upon where you are around the world. Hexagon and a pentagon. Oh my god, the pentagon. Oh no. Yes, the pentagon. As equally next to the hexagon, which is, the hexagon is of course the cube. Okay, so if we're going to pretend like the 4 circles is God, then we have to pretend like the 6 is a God, and we have to pretend the 6 is God because the 5 is complementary to the 6, and you're not going to find a structure of actual hexagonal shape that matches up correlatingly with all sides touching one another unless you pop a pentagon in the middle of it. And that's Buckminster Fuller type stuff that we're getting into, hence the buckyball. If you take any of these and you start to create a religion out of it, you start to get into distorted information, okay, and wars and separation and all this sort of stuff. Okay, so some things that people aren't likely aware of in these same subjects, and the purpose of this is not to discredit any sort of religion or anything like this. Wait until the end before you jump to conclusions about whether I'm a sinner or anything else like this. This window appears in this church in here. Okay, this is the St. Mary's Church, if I recall. Yeah, St. Mary's Church in Wivenhoe. Okay. And then we go back to this one over here, and then you've got the 4 letters of God struck out into a cross, which is again the cube coming together to create the 4 letters of God, Yahweh in Hebrew, right in the middle of the pentagram there, which becomes the shape of a triangle. And the reason why 4 letters of God create a triangle is again here, okay, like correlated. I can't remember what this is called, the style of representing letters in a fashion like this, but it's Yahweh and then Yahweh and then way and then or however you would pronounce all this. My battery is running out, so I'm going to have to speed up a little bit. But as we get to the point here, we've got all sorts of iconography within religion pointing towards triangles and also cubes. You okay, baby? But what happens if we take all of this information and we condense it down and we find the root of it all? Well, the root of it all is actually where I started, which is 0. So if we want to start with any type of religion or any type of centralized information pattern, then that would be that of the circle, 0. Like what all of this is actually starting from, okay? Which is circles, all circles. Circles 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And the reason why they're all zeros is because it's all Toruses. Now we're getting into a different type of thing. But just for completion, okay, Torus. Torus. Okay. All of these things are zeros. every one of them. And then the zeros create interesting little patterns throughout all of the ways that they overlay and cross over each other. As they cross over each other, they create information patterns and information systems. So the three basic ones there create a triangle, the three basic ones there create a triangle. Or if you join all of them together, join all of them together from the circles, then you get the hexagon out of the middle of them, and then you join the middle bits in the hexagon in the form of the 3, and you get the cube again. And then from there, you've got the seed of all the actual platonic solids and all other shapes, whether that be the pentagon, hexagon, septagon, octagon, nonagon, dodecadon, and up from there, okay? But it all stems from the source, and the source of it all, or the beginning of all creation and the end of all creation, which is 0, okay? That's the mystery behind it all. So anyone who says this is good or this is bad is picking one thing and looking at something else instead of looking at everything from an equal opportunity standpoint. And in today's reality, with all of the PC correct stuff going on everywhere, this is the message at the core, which is without any judgment, the only thing that exists is absolute 0. And then in that, you have all of creation, and all of creation has the right to perceive itself as part of creation, all right? None of these, whether that be 0.3, 0.6, 0.9, 1.8, 1.6, 2.0, 0.8, none of it has any standing by itself without the 0. The 0 is the anchor point of it all. But can the 3 turn around to the 4 and say, hey, you're wrong, you're actually a bad guy? Or can the 4 turn around to the 3 and say, no, you're wrong, you're the bad guy? No, because from the standpoint of God and creation itself, 0, they're both children of God, or 0, as the case may be, okay? They're all birthed from the field of entity or creation itself, which is, again, all the way down here, 0, okay? Thank you for watching the production of Trev and Associated Studios, and we shall call it a night. Good night.